My name is Jiu, and these are my teammates Rupa, Kevin, and Katie, and we're here from the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Today, we're here to chart the future of McKesson Canada's hospital automated solutions. For years, HAS has been a leader in providing medication-related technology products. Hospital managers, doctors, and nurses have come to rely on McKesson to optimize the safety and efficiency of their operations. But recent policy changes are making their jobs harder and harder. For example, hospital managers fear that cuts in public funding will force them to do more with less. And doctors and nurses are under pressure to service as many patients as possible while still delivering quality care. So, as the demands on these workers increase, the duty of HAS to really help them grows in tandem. In prescribing a strategy for HAS to grow its business and also solidify long-term market leadership, our team really focused on the company's superior ability to minimize process and maximize people. Because although HAS operates in the healthcare technology space, its products are really about empowering people to improve patient care. Through its services, HAS impacts the work of thousands of healthcare professionals across the nation every day. So by extending its portfolio to better serve these stakeholders, HAS can solidify its ability to serve people for many years to come. Let's take a look at the changes in the healthcare industry. Recently, government initiatives have been focused on limiting the increase in healthcare spending into the future. For example, instead of issuing global budgets to hospitals, which guarantees financing regardless of patient flow, districts have been experimenting with something called activity-based funding, which actually motivates higher productivity. This means that hospitals will be looking for new ways to boost the efficiency of their operations and lowering expenses. Additionally, governments are taking steps to lower the prices of prescription drugs, which may adversely impact McKesson's pharmaceutical distribution business. This means that the company will be seeking additional sources of revenues to compensate for that decrease and also hopefully increase the viability of technology-related lines of business like HAS. So while government regulations does limit business opportunities to some extent, we found several trends that signal areas of very optimistic growth. Inspired by the success of Japanese manufacturers like Toyota, many hospitals and clinics are actually implementing lean operations, which has a high emphasis on eliminating waste. Thankfully for HAS, their specialty is really in streamlining processes to reduce waste. A second trend in healthcare is the use of big data. 73% of respondents in the PwC Health Institute survey said that integrating multiple data sources is what top priority for their organization. And finally, the demand for long-term care is expected to increase dramatically in the next few years as the baby boomer generation ages and enters retirement. So to gain a comprehensive view of how all of these macro trends affect HAS, our team conducted analysis of strengths and weaknesses. The key takeaway is really that HAS can leverage its existing capabilities to introduce new technologies and expand to new customer segments. To identify the best opportunities for expansion, our team benchmarked every single recommendation to two primary objectives. First, we set a target for 10% growth within the next 5 years. And second, we wanted to really ensure HAS's long-term position as a market leader. We linked one key performance indicator to each recommendation in order to track the progress of HAS as the industry continues to evolve. Due to the uncertain nature of future government policies, it's really imperative that HAS focuses on investing for long-term top-line growth as it moves into the future and maintains its relevance in the healthcare industry. Now I'd like to pass it on to Rupa, who will unveil our strategy.
Thanks, Yu. So with these objectives in mind, our team really was able to realize that HAS has the power to leverage its quality of product and reliability of service and really harness those two, broaden the existing core offerings to really cut and eliminate inefficiencies within the healthcare systems, maximize our human potential, and really empower groups of people to drive forward long-term efficiency and growth within healthcare as well as HAS. This leads me to introduce our solution of minimizing inefficiencies and maximizing the impact of people. So really, I'd like to bring your attention to the heart of the center of the screen, which really represents that our core sort of solution and central component of our strategy is about people. So with this people emphasis, we'd like to minimize inefficiencies within three key stakeholder groups: professionals, providers, and patients. First, with professionals, we aim to maximize professionals' time. We aim to provide more than just medications, by launching into automation systems for more than just drugs, but instead tailored to medical devices. 2, maximize providers' experience by supplying more than just products. We are proposing a service component to the business through a database management and software system. And 3, maximizing patients' care by serving more than just the present. We aim to look to future hot markets in the long-term care facilities area. So in the end, our strategy really focuses on people, and we really think this can be a cure-all solution. So now let's talk about the first prescription in our strategy, which is really about maximizing professionals' time. So our team really wanted to keep our thumb on the pulse of key industry trends. We first realized that hospitals are spending 13% of expenditures on supplies. And really the main issue that hospitals are facing these days is supply and inventory management. What's even more detrimental is that nurses are spending 40% of their time on waste-related activities, including searching for supplies before being able to really service their patients. This is where the trend that GU talked about with lean thinking and lean systems that Toyota Production Systems really epitomize comes into play with our solution. Thus, our team proposes Mims, the McKesson Inventory Management Suite, which basically is a new launch of a set of products that tailor to an automated system for medical supplies. So think about all the drug automation sort of systems that are in place. We essentially would be leveraging those existing capabilities and shifting those to then focus on a new segment of products, which would be the supplies. Another key area of opportunity that our team sees here is being able to really tap into the idea of directly supplying these supplies as well as devices to hospitals. So really becoming that all-inclusive inventory management sort of system for hospitals and removing their need to go to other suppliers for inventory management would help us solidify our position in the marketplace. So here is basically where you can see a sample mock-up of what a product would look like within the Mims sort of system. And here we see sort of a vending machine sort of style, centralized tool kiosks for easy access for nurses. So instead of running around from floor to floor looking for a specific kind of device or a specific kind of tool, they would be able to go straight to these systems and have easy access and eliminate that waste and that clutter of sorting through storage closets. Also quick and customized output of medical supplies with a cool, easy interface that would be menu style, would also help to streamline the process of inventory management. And then the main feature I'd like to highlight for this would be the automatic replenishment system that if HAS were really able to tap into supplying their own tools and supplying their own medical devices to complement this hardware solution, they would be able to help save nurses time with regards to reordering, matching supply and demand, preventing overbuying and underbuying. So that really time is being freed up so they can better spend that time as extra capital on more worthwhile investments. So now I'd like to walk us all through the Mims Advantage, which really is understanding what the benefits are and how attractive this sort of solution is for hospitals who would buy into this option. So if we were to take an example hospital of 300 employed nurses, and we know that 40% of their time is being spent on supply-related duties, we can say that 120 of these nurses are being underutilized. If we multiply this by their average yearly salary of $60,000, we see that there's a total waste of $7.2 million on supplies. However, with Mims entering the picture with a selling point of having hospitals basically outsourcing their entire supply and inventory management systems to HAS, even with just 30% more efficiency in their practices, we'd be able to save $2.2 million per year per hospital. And I think that, in effect, what we're trying to propose here is that by empowering these professionals to have more time, we're really driving hospital efficiency and driving better patient care. So now to just tie back this first solution to our original 2 key objectives, I'd like to highlight that by offering hospitals these time, these cost reductions, HAS can really increase sales volume and hit the 2 objectives of contributing to the 10% growth, as well as maintaining that long-term leadership status. So not only is HAS now playing into a new product category space by leveraging kind of existing capabilities with their drug automation systems, but they're now also able to automate more of the hospital experience, which will better position them for relevancy into the future. So now that I've detailed the first strategy, I'd like to pass it off to Kevin to detail the remaining 2 tactics.
Thanks, Rupa. So now that we have an additional product line that's going to help HAS expand, we want to look into other areas that we could really help serve our customers better and really help them, empower them to help people more. And so one thing that we looked at was a couple different trends in the industry, and we found that there is an interesting pattern that we were able to identify. So just to highlight these trends that we found out, in an annual global CEO survey of healthcare CEOs, 95% of respondents actually are exploring opportunities in big data, while 86% of those healthcare CEOs actually believe technology will help transform their businesses over the next 5 years. And just to kind of go back to what Rupert was saying, the number one problem in hospitals is actually inventory management, which seems kind of strange where you think, nursing care and actually the quality would be one of the things. These small back-end tasks are actually hindering the efficiency and the quality of healthcare in a lot of the hospitals. So when we looked at this, we thought, we could really propose a solution that could really manifest itself in a service that could actually help and solve all these different trends. And that is really leveraging a service-based solution that's based off of a current product, ConnectRx. So if we can take the current ConnectRx system, kind of add a few additional features and additional UI enhancements, rebrand it and repackage it and bring it to the forefront of HAS's offerings, this could really help differentiate HAS as not just a product company, but also one that provides services solutions and help them make informed decisions in this growing industry that has challenges. So I'd like to introduce you today ViewRx, which is a dashboard that will provide unique insights and cost savings for customers, specifically providers' experiences. So what exactly is ViewRx? Well, it's an integrated IT management solution that's compatible with all McKesson's current products, and including even the Mims that we just announced here. It does drug management, it does inventory management, that really provides cost savings through automation, through freeing up administrative time, but in addition it has real-time monitoring to give at-a-glance insights and data that can highlight areas of improvement for growth in the current market. It also has a couple different modules that have performing labor management, so you can track different nurses' times and average wait time, and so on and so forth. So this can be the one-stop shop for a lot of hospital providers' needs in order to help them move forward. So I know this is a little difficult to imagine, and just me, telling you this. So we've actually been able to convince our technicians back at Team 6 in Wharton to really give you a sneak peek of what this could really look like and help visualize it for you. So welcome to the ViewRx dashboard. This is actually an initial splash screen of what a hospital administrator will actually be able to see when they first log onto the system. So as you can see, there's a lot of different kind of categories such as pill inventory, doses administered, average wait time, consumable inventory, top performers, and efficiency. And what's good is this is all kind of customized to whatever the hospital needs, and as they can build on top of it for whatever they desire. Something I'd like to point out that's really unique is that it's color-coded. So as soon as you log on, you can really see what areas need to be addressed really quickly. And as you can see in this hospital, they may want to check in on their patients a little more because their average wait time right now is actually double what it traditionally is. And just overall, this is a way to get really granular data. Each one of these tiles can be clicked, and say you want to know what's going on in your pill inventory. Hydrocodone right now exists about in 8% of the pills, but maybe you want to see who's prescribing it, maybe you want to see who's actually taking it, and maybe you can maximize that efficiency as well. So overall, this dashboard is really a one-stop location for all hospital administrators to be able to just go in and not go to different tools and different calculations, and to help minimize the process it takes them to make these decisions and maximize the impact they can have on patients that really matter. So this sounds great, right? But in the end, we really need to see what this does for HAS, and I think that one of the great things about this solution, about bringing the software that we are having to the forefront, is that we already have it. The investment's going to be a lot less than it would be if we had to build it from scratch. And at the same time, this is going to guarantee a recurring revenue annually, because every single time someone purchases say a McKesson product or a Mims product even, they're going to be purchasing the annual subscription services as well. So year over year, we're going to have guaranteed revenue. And from our calculations, you can see we were able to generate ROI of 27% and actually pay it back around years 3 to 4, which is from there moving forward, we can definitely see it as contributing to maintain a long-term leadership in the market. So now before I move on to the next tactic, I really want to take a step back and think about that second objective that I highlighted in maintaining long-term leadership. And long-term leadership really means looking forward into the future and seeing where HAS can position itself to really be there where everyone else is going. And from our analysis, we've actually received that the LTC long-term care facilities is something that we find really, really attractive. And so LTC is predicted to grow around 6.3 compounded annually over the next 10 years. In addition, the aging Canadian population is going to see an increased demand for LTC facilities, as well as the stresses that are currently in the system are going to be pressed even harder. And so always you can see in a quote here that the care of the residents in even current LTC systems are increasing. Residents are frailer, they have more behavioral issues, and they need more medication. And so this, for us, seemed like a perfect opportunity for HAS to come in and really help automate solutions and increase efficiency. So this is what a typical LTC center may look like. You have a dining room where a normal nurse without, say, an AccuDose RX is just going around filling pills for herself and then handing them to different patients. What if that was all automated and all she had to do was really pick it out and give it to the patients? What about a hallway med care cell where instead of going to different stock rooms to provide either different pills, drugs, or even just supplies, she can have it all located in one place where it's an easy access, easy click, and it's all tracked throughout our ViewRx system. So these two solutions example are just kind of a way to show that there's more personal care being involved and really helping minimize what shouldn't be going on in the picture of nurses running around and maximizing the picture that we see here on your right with the nurses really giving more personal care. So once again, let's take a step back and look how this can help HAS. By extending the products and services to long-term care facilities, we'll actually increase annual revenue by 15%. By combining the trend of moving towards LTCs in the future with an increasing consolidation, as well as the already stress points that are going to be pressed even harder in the future, we can really see that by 2019, we're going to see an increase in $9 million in revenue solely based on this tactic alone, contributing growth to the 10% growth that we've highlighted, as well as maintaining long-term leadership for years to come. And so now I'll pass it up to Kate to wrap things up.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. So my teammates have just talked about the 3 tactics and how that all plays into a strategy. And my role today is to close the loop for you and show you how that also plays into HAS's long-term financial viability. So what we have up here are the aggregate financials. We built out individual models for every single tactic to ensure a certain level of granularity and sophistication in the way that we project future financials. Happy to talk about any of this in Q&A, talk through the key revenue and cost drivers, but I think what we really should focus on is revenue. Now, the first thing you should notice is that HAS does in fact is able to achieve its 10% double-digit growth during year 2, and such that by year 3 we have revenue lift of $13 million. And we close out our financial forecast at 2020 of approximately $20 million. The other interesting thing to note about this figure is that Tactic 3, while in the beginning doesn't really have a strong play in the revenue add, by 2020 is a significant revenue add to HAS's portfolio businesses. And we think this is a direct result of the underlying industry shifts and what we expect the future of healthcare to be. Now, moving on, I think it's really important to cover really briefly a couple next steps and actionable items that we can take to implement our tactics. Now, what's important to realize is that in the first couple of years, there's going to be a lot of footwork involved in terms of expanding our sales force to long-term care facilities, in terms of talking to our suppliers in order to have research and development costs. All of these will play into year 1 being a lot about established foundations. In years 2 and 3, however, we can start rolling out our tactics and hit the ground running. Now, the advantage of HAS also is that it has a lot of existing relationships and existing clientele, which they can use to leverage and really ramp up its partnership as well as its revenue growth, because they already have markets and targets in which they can begin to establish relationships. Now, what I want to spend the last couple of minutes we have together talking about is kind of recapping everything we've discussed in the past 15 or so minutes. We have a government that is facing budget cuts. We have overcrowded hospitals. We have an aging baby boomer population, all of which puts HAS at the center of a perfect storm and also a prime window of opportunity. Now, McKesson has a storied brand, and HAS can really leverage that in order to be the real cure to the disease that has plagued hospitals for generations: inefficiency. HAS has the ability to implement at every step of the patient process the ability to impact and make a difference in people's lives. From the surgeon who has syringes and gloves ready for him before his next operation, to the hospital administrator who's able to keep her hospital barely afloat by cutting excess inventory, to the to the nurse facilitator at a long-term care facility who is able to finally focus on his patients because he has a pack med that is able to deliver his meds for him accurately and quickly. We believe that HAS has the ability to really make an impact on society, but what's more interesting is that while these impacts come in leaps and bounds, the actual cost it takes to invest and implement this product is relatively so minimal that we can reposition HAS for not only double-digit revenue growth, but also long-term viability. In short, we believe that HAS has the ability to achieve true potential in the future healthcare industry, and we believe that route is through minimizing process and maximizing potential. Thank you.
Guys very much. I do have a question about the Mims inventory management system. How is that differentiated from the existing one that we have in place? So I guess it's the robotic one that basically is all in one and all encompassing. How is that different, and why are we not going to leverage what we already have in place? How would this be advantageous? How would this, because this would require an investment, so how would that benefit us over what we have in place already?
Yeah, so I can take that one. So with the Mims system, we really want to focus in on what the overarching goal would be of the system, and that was really the ability to customize. So we actually did play with the idea of potentially integrating the med carousel with the tool carousel to have sort of the supplies and the drugs being sort of automated together. However, we really think that with the differentiating sort of sizes with hospitals and being able to give them the flexibility to choose, I want X amount of this kind of machine and I want Y kind of this machine, we think that the granularity with having separate machines would be overall more beneficial than having sort of an integrated robot experience where it's not a targeted approach to inventory management, whereas this focuses just on the hardware solution, and then again, if they do choose to sort of play into providing their own supplies, that could also be something extra tack on.
Well, thank you very much. While you're still leveraging a lot of the products that exist today, you're also layering on additional kind of IT infrastructure, services, and a new product for that matter. Is there anything that you feel that McKesson should discontinue in order to kind of allocate resources appropriately?
Yeah, I guess I can talk about that. So we thought a lot about, I think one of the main questions that they asked us to think about was whether or not we think they should break their relationship with their current partners. And so that was one of the key considerations that we had when it came to alternative solutions or whether it came to discontinuing products. Ultimately, what we decided was we didn't want to do that. And one of the main reasons is because we think that they have such a strong brand as well as such a strong market leadership that at the moment they have become known and people continue to rely on them for servicing these products and these services. And so we felt that in that sense, we didn't want to have to retrain our sales force in order to make them aware that we no longer have this product. And we don't want to ever say no to a hospital whenever it comes down to, can you provide this service to us? Can you help our patients? The last thing we want to be is like, no, we can't do that anymore.
Your second tactic, I think it talked a fair bit about taking ConnectRx and converting it into much more of a visual dashboard for big data and so on. A couple questions around that. When you show the revenue contributions, it looks like it's significantly less than your other two tactics. So I want you to maybe just talk a little bit about why you even included it in that sense. And secondly, within that space, dashboards and data for really hospital administrators, I guess, and maybe the frontline people. Have you looked at the competition that's already there and what's being done currently in that market space and how you'd address that competition?
So to address the first question about how exactly what's really the kind of point of the whole system, and it's the small revenue. But I think quantitatively it may be small in the other two tactics, but qualitatively it boosts a lot more to the HAS brand overall and McKesson in turn. So if someone is looking to get a product from McKesson or HAS, they're going to want something to have the system behind it, and this is kind of a way to pitch not only the product but the service as well, and kind of having it in tandem. So while it is a small percentage, it's more guaranteed, and it's going to definitely I think help people sleep better at night, because when you purchase a machine, that's kind of a one-time huge fee, a huge investment, and then from there you're going to have to go and train sales for it to continue to sell. Well, when they already have the service, that's continuing stream. May not be as large, but it's definitely once you have it, you don't really have to worry about too much, except for when contracts come up. And in terms of the competitors in the space, we realized that in general, this is something that we want in HMS to be like a one-stop shop. So we don't want them to have to go somewhere else for a management system that they're going to have to plug into our current different system that they already have. When they come to HCS, we're going to say we have everything you need, and that's going to save a lot of their time in general. Time is money for a lot of companies, and we really want to leverage that and say we can give you everything, and the cost savings is not that significant compared to if you want to go and see a competitor.
I think just to add one more point to that, it's also part of hedging the risk that our relationship with Ascent will be renewed in the next 3 years. And so it's kind of like a branding strategy. If hospital providers can really get attached to the software that McKesson itself provides, then that kind of reduces their kind of attachment to just the machine itself, which McKesson only resells. And so that way, in the future, they'll be able to increase their brand equity and increase the switching costs that hospitals have between different products.
One question about the Mims, just to be sure, are we focusing solely on medications or we're, in your strategy, we're including supplies in generally?
So basically the MIMS system would be taking the solutions that we already have in place that dispense drugs and doing the same thing for supplies. So I think in that way it becomes more of a comprehensive inventory management system that satisfies a different kind of need, a different kind of demand for hospitals.
Okay, and perhaps a sub-question, in your nursing time savings related to supplies and the Mims, are you basing your estimates on US or Canadian data?
I think it was Canadian data assumptions that we found.
Okay.
The Mims, that inventory management system, I'm just wondering, is it integrated with the supply chain, or is it just like a superficial management of the physical inventory that's present?
So with the key opportunity area that I highlighted earlier in terms of providing their own supplies through the hardware, it would be an integrated solution that would be tagged onto their supply chain. So not only would they be supplying the hardware, they would also be become the intermediary to resell those supplies through the hardware.
We have time for 2 more questions.
Quick question on the dashboard. I see a patient average wait times,
60 minutes.
Yeah, no, and that's not about what my understanding initially was about, inventory management type of dashboard. I see clinical data in there. I just want to make sure what's the focus of the ViewRx solution?
I think in terms of ViewRx, it is definitely focused on especially inventory management, but in general, it's kind of based on the whole hospital in general. So obviously, our nurses aren't like inventory, but at the same time, we can use the data like fingerprints and say from the minute they put it in the order to the minute they deliver it, to really enhance, and that's something that is definitely a value added, but isn't necessary. But I mean, if we already have the capability, that's something that say a hospital administrator wants to know what the utilization or how long it takes for a patient to really get fulfilled from beginning to end. That's something that we thought would be a great value add, and it's definitely modular. So if a hospital doesn't want to pay for it,